Welcome back to the show. It was probably the shortest run of a production in the history of the Great Canadian Theatre Company. And the production was called Daisy, shut down due to the pandemic. I'm joined by the playwright for Daisy, Sean Devine. Sean, welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And I'm probably dead on, Sean. Walk us back to the beginning of that pandemic, because you guys were just about to get things started at the GCTC with Daisy.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny when you say the shortest run in Canadian history. I like to spin it in the opposite way, because the fact is the play opened and closed on March 12th, 2020, but the set has never come off the stage. So in a way, I joke that it's the longest running, lowest box office generating show in Canadian theatre history.
That's a good way to look at it. I like that.
I've got to be an optimist, right?
Yeah.
But it was definitely, but that was, so March 12th, it opened and closed. And for sure, that was definitely a bittersweet experience, you know, as I'm sure you can imagine. Like, I walked into the lobby, you know, excited, but I could tell I was almost walking into a funeral, as it were, because by that point, everybody knew, like the day after is the last day I worked downtown. So everybody knew that this pandemic was happening. And I'll never forget the artistic director. He came up to me after the show at the opening night party, and he pulled me aside gently, and he said apologetically that they're going to have to postpone the show for 2 weeks. And obviously that spun into a lot longer.
Yeah, 20 months later, here we are talking about it. Its return to the GCTC. Sean, tell us a little bit about Daisy and what's the inspiration behind it.
Yeah, so Daisy, what Daisy is, so I've always been fascinated by politics, and pretty much every play I write about is about not just politics, but about the machinery behind politics. I just find that fascinating. So what Daisy is about the impact that mass media has on elections. And even though it's set in 1964, I certainly don't think that theme, the impact that media has on elections, has at all diminished. So the play, the reason it's called Daisy is the name of the most infamous political television commercial of all time. It's called the Daisy ad. And that ad played during the 1964 U.S. election. And that 1964 U.S. election was probably the first election where we saw the true impact that television advertising and media could have on voters. Now, back then, people wonder, is the play relevant now? Well, back then, voters may have been perhaps a bit more innocent and not so desensitized to media as we are now, but in a very similar way, perhaps even in a more impactful way, we today are certainly seeing just how much of an impact that the manipulation of information on social media can have on our elections. So I think in an unfortunate way, the play continues to resonate.
It was first performed in Seattle back in 2016. Sean, has it changed in any way? Have you done any rewrites in any way over the years?
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I like, maybe because I can never find perfect, but one thing that I like about the medium I work in theater, technically every time it plays again, you do have an opportunity to make it better, for lack of a better term. And as time goes on, you learn more insights. I certainly think that the play has, I've certainly found more resonance with the play since 2016. Like, when I wrote it back in 2013 when Donald Trump wasn't even an issue back then. And when it played in Seattle in 2016, it played during the Trump-Clinton election. And so in a in a huge way, the connection between that, like the fictional presidential election I was depicting, and the real election was extremely resonant. And I think in a certain way, it's also found a bit of a resonance here in Canada.
For sure. I remember, Sean, I'm sorry, I have to cut you off. We're just running out of time here, and I want to remind everybody and I'm so fascinated. I wish I could talk to you longer. GCTC.ca for more information, how you can get tickets, and it's running November 30th to December 17th. We'll catch you next time.